Welcome back, my dear students. We were dealing with the centromere, and in the last class, we have dealt with the centromeric specification by the protein CNPEA. And this CNPEA specifies the centromere. And not only that, we have discussed how this CNPA, which is the variant of histone protein H3, is different from canonical H3, and what changes its parts upon the DNA portion to which it gets attached and causes that portion to act as the centromere. In the today's class, we shall deal with the structural organization of centromere in different organisms. Then we will shift to the epigenetic specification of centromere, and finally conclude by the process which maintains the fidelity of the chromosome segregation. So let us begin with the slide share. Now, we shall be dealing with the structure of centromere, and it has been introduced in the first slide. What I have told you earlier, that centromere plays active role in chromosomal segregation, and not only, it maintains the segregation of chromosomal apparatus in such a way that half of the chromosomes are passed to one pole, whereas the other half is passed to another pole. So the chromosomal segregation fidelity is also maintained by the centromere. So centromere is not a passive landing point for the spindle fibrate, and it has a structural specificity in such a way that this structure not only acts as a landing port for the kinetochore and thereby provide the attachment facility to the spindle fibers which pull apart the chromosome sister chromatids, but also it regulates the entire process of segregation of chromosome in such a way that fidelity of the process is maintained. So centromere not just a landing pad. It has structural specificity, both genetic as well as epigenetics. That means the DNA which acts as centromere has got a structural specificity as well as many factors which are not genetic, which are not dispensed in the form of nucleotide sequence, that is, which are not the part of the DNA. They are not polynucleotides of the DNA, but they still, such as many proteins, they influence the process of functioning of the centromere, and this process is called epigenetic specification, that is a specification or the functional influence upon the centromere which was not essentially exerted by the DNA sequence rather than by attachment or detachment of many functional groups to the histones and DNA as well. So it directs cell division by assembly and organization of kinetochore, regulating the time and accuracy of chromosomal segregation. So it is not a passive landing point, but it plays active role in chromosomal segregation during the cell division, particularly after a metaphase and post-mid to post-metaphase and anaphase stage. Centromeres have evolved, and in simpler organisms, they are very simple centromeres, such as called point centromeres, whereas we move ahead, we find regional centromeres, and regional centromeres can also be classified for the purpose of discussion, understanding into the simple regional centromeres as well as complex regional centromeres. And so these regional centromeres, they have hierarchical arrays of satellite repeats. Hierarchical arrays of satellite repeats. Many students have raised questions such as Satyam, Saurabh. They have raised the question about the hierarchical arrays of satellite repeats. So what is satellite DNA and what is the hierarchy, that I shall be discussing. I have added a new slide, particularly for the purpose of discussing the satellite DNA and the hierarchical arrays. Despite significant differences in the size in sequence. Now, these repetitive segments, the DNA repeats, the tandem repeats after one after another. We can have a glimpse of that. So you see here that these satellite DNA contain highly repetitive adenine thymine. Sequence, and that are flanked by the domains of heterochromatin. So basic structure is that satellite repeats in the middle and flanked by the heterochromatin. You know, heterochromatin is the tightly coiled chromatin, which usually is not expressed, and it may be constitutive heterochromatin or facultative heterochromatin, depending upon the nature. Constitutive heterochromatin never loosens itself. It remains tightly coiled for always, whereas the facultative heterochromatin changes its fate between tightly coiled state and a loosened state. The latter can express itself genomically. So the centromeres are not just landing pads, they are functional entities. They have their structure as well as their defined function. And the main function is that they regulate the segregation of chromosomes in such a way that half of the sister chromatid is passed to one pole, whereas another half is passed to the another pole. So shifting to the next satellite. Now, I have told you that some of our students have raised questions about hierarchical repeats and the satellite DNA. So what is satellite DNA? Because in original chromosomes, original centromeres, you will find that in human beings, there is an array of satellite DNA, and it had been repeated a number of times. So there are MBs, millions of bases. So what is satellite DNA? Do you know something about satellite DNA? Another question is, why satellite? Why not repeated DNA? Why satellite? So these satellite DNAs are tandemly repeated DNA sequences. That is, the DNA sequence which are repeated one after another, that is, they are in tandem. The name satellite comes from the appearance as a separate. When we determine the density gradient of a DNA by sharing it and subsequently subjecting it to the ultracentrifugation, we shall find that these DNAs, 80 rich DNAs, they will manifest them in the form of a separate graph. So you see here the main band. This is the depiction of an ultracentrifugation of a DNA in cesium chloride gradients, and the bands are visible here. So these bands, this is the band of main DNA, this is main band, whereas these bands, they are smaller bands, and these bands are called satellite bands. So such tandem repeats, when they are subjected to ultracentrifugation, they appear in the form of satellite bands. That's why they are called satellite DNA, commonly called satellite DNA. And this satellite band is concerned due to with the composition of nitrogen bases found in the DNA. Most of the satellite DNAs are adenine and thymine rich, and these display a lower density. And since they have lower density, they appear as a separate band, whereas if they have in many cases, the greater ratio of GC, they will have highly dense bands. So as the satellite DNA constitute, most of the satellite DNAs constitute abundance of adenine and thymine having lower density, they are buoyant in different way from the main band, and so they appear as a satellite band, and this is called satellite DNA. But if it has got composition of guanine and cytosine in abundance, it will show higher density. So it is not universal. It depends upon the density of the DNA, which depends upon the nitrogen-based constituent of the DNA and the nitrogen-based constitution of the DNA. If it has abundance of the AT, which is in most of the cases, then it will appear as a lower density band than the main DNA, and that's why it is called satellite DNA. Another characteristic of human satellite DNA present at the centromere is that it is of alpha family satellite DNA. So what is the difference between the beta satellite DNA and alpha satellite DNA? The beta satellite DNA tandem arrays of diverge approximately equal to 68 base pair monopair. So the repeating units in beta family, beta satellite DNA, are made up of 68 base pairs, and those 68 base pairs are tandemly repeated, whereas in case of alpha satellite DNA, the monomers are of 171. That is, a repeating unit is made up of about 171 nucleotides, and those nucleotides are repeated many times, whereas in case of beta, 68 nucleotides are repeated many times. So the main difference is that of monomers, and the alpha satellite DNA is the most abundant satellite DNA in the human centromere, and another satellite DNA is HSAT, human satellite DNA 2 and 3, along with the alpha satellite DNA, which is present at the centromere of human beings. Now, let us deal with the hierarchical repeats. So to create higher order repeat units, 50 to 70% are identical. These are 80 reach and 50% to 70% are identical in their sequence, and a defined number of monomers are arranged randomly. Say, for example, X monomer having 20% resemblance, it gets arranged 30-40 times, then Y monomer 70-80 times, then Z monomer hundreds of times. So there is hierarchical repetition of the monomers, and those monomers which are repeated more number of times are called higher order repeat units. So alpha satellite DNA is a repeat based on 171 base pair monomer. That is, here the repeating unit is constituted by about 171 base pair monomers, and in human centromeres are located at regions of 80 rich monomers. So these monomers are 80 rich monomers in the human centromeres, and 50 to 70% are identical. A defined number of monomers are arranged tandemly to create higher order repeats. That is, some monomers may be repeated a few times, whereas some other defined monomers may be repeated many more number of times, and that's how the hierarchy is created, and that is why the hierarchical repeats word has been used, or such monomers which are repeated many more number of times are called higher order repeat units. The number of monomers and their order in HOR, higher order repeats, confer chromosome specificity. So how does a centromere located at X chromosome differs from a centromere located on Y chromosome? So this difference depends upon the higher order repeats and their structural specificity. The order and sequence of the monomers differ between chromosome-specific HORs. So centromeric DNA or the centromeric satellite DNA can be identified or can be distinguished from one chromosome to another chromosome by the number of repeats and the constitution of repeats, that is the base pair constitution of the repeats. So monomers differ between chromosome-specific HORs, and thus alpha satellite arrays on each chromosome can be distinguished. Satellite DNA is abundant at centromeres and constitutive heterochromatin, and the satellite DNA is about 2.6% of human genome. So satellite DNAs, now it is abundantly clear, are tandemly repeated units of nucleotides, and these units vary in their length. The repeating units vary in their length. Say, for example, in beta repeats, in family of beta repeats, they are made up of 68 base pair monomers. The repeating units are made up of 68 base pairs, whereas in case of alpha family, which is the characteristic feature, alpha satellite DNA family is the characteristic feature of centromere of human beings. Here, the repeating unit is alpha family, and alpha family is distinguished by having the repeating unit extending up to 171 monomers. That is, here the monomer which is repeated many times is made up of about 171 base pairs, and these monomers may be repeated a few times. They may be identical, they may differ 50 to 70% identical, and they may differ to some extent, and they are arranged to different number of times in different chromosomes, and this constitution of nuclear bases as well as number of arrangement varies in the centromere of different chromosomes. So the centromeric chromosome can be identified by the makeup of the monomers which are being repeated and the number of times the monomers are being repeated. And not only that, these monomers may be repeated a few times, few more times, and some more are repeated thousands of times. And so they form higher order repeats. They are being repeated number of times. So there is a hierarchy of repeats, and that's why called hierarchical arrangement of tandemly repeated DNA, that is the satellite DNA. So the satellite DNA is the special feature of the centromeric region of original chromosomes, to be more specific, and in case of human chromosomes, original centromeres and the human centromeres in particular. And they have higher order repeats as well as smaller repeats too. So a few monomers have been repeated a few times, whereas many monomers have been repeated many more times. And these the pattern of repetition as well as the constitution of nuclear bases of the DNA which is being repeated, they impart a specificity of to a centromere. And so the centromere can be distinguished depending upon the number of higher order repeats and as well as the nuclear base constitution of the repeats. So we have seen that this is the main band and this is satellite band, and the AT-rich DNA, they have lower density, they have lower bond density. And so when we subject the DNA to the ultracentrifugation, they appear as a separate band, and this appearance as a separate band has given the name which appears as the satellite to the main band, and that's why these DNAs are commonly called satellite DNA. Now, these satellite DNAs, which were earlier treated as the junk DNA of our genome, but it has now been revealed that they are the multitasking apparatus. They have the multiple role in the genomics, and they play many vital roles. So they are not non-functional repeated units for nothing, but they are repeated units performing many things, performing many tasks. And for the purpose of centromere, you can see that ensuring of accurate chromosome segregation in mitosis, that is, they ensure segregation, fidelity, faithfulness, or preciseness of segregation of chromosomes during mitosis. Then participation in genome integrity, maintenance, and gene expression regulation. So they are abundant at the heterochromatic region, and it is said, it has been inferred that they provide physical strength to the chromosome too. So they play an important role in maintaining the integrity of the chromosome. Contribution in the reproductive isolation and hybrid incompatibility. We shall see later on that in case of a species of Equus, the shifting of the centromere and subsequently shifting of the satellite DNA has led to the spatial segregation, to the spatial isolation, and it leads to speciation and prevents hybrid exchange of gene between hybrids. So it ensures chromosome segregation. It participates in genomic integrity, provides strength to the genome, and epigenetic and structural centromere determination. It also played a role in epigenetics. We shall see the epigenetic influences on the centromere and how satellite DNA is involved in that. So satellite DNA has got many more roles to play in the genomics, and bulk of the role is being played, or a number of the role is being played concerned with the centromere. So pericentrometic heterochromatin formation is also aided by the satellite DNA. So satellite DNA, which was hitherto regarded as the junk DNA of our genome, has now been considered as a multitasking apparatus performing so many functions. Now, let us come to our topic, that was the basic structure based. So that was the basic information which was necessary to understand the current topic, that is the structural specificity of the centromere. So now we have understood that what are satellite DNAs and how they perform functions, why they are called satellites, and now we shall see that how they have been involved in the formation of centromere and its allied structures, that is the pericentromeric chromosomes too. So let us have an overview of centromeric structure. So here you see that centromere has been shown as this pink structure, and pericentromeric chromosome as this purple. So you have this, the simplest is the point centromere, and this point centromere is found in budding yeast. It has got 3 regions, CDE, conserved DNA elements 1, 2, and 3, and the CENPA, CENPA or CENH3 is attached to CDE2. So the CENH3, which imparts centromeric property to a particular length of DNA, is attached here in case of budding yeast to CDE2. So this is the point centromere because it is represented by point, only one CNPA is attached and only one spindle fibrae is attached. But here you see there are regional chromosomes, and so this centromeric region has been expanded and it is attached to the CENPA or its variants. Here also the regional centromere, here satellite centromere, so predominantly made up of satellite DNA, more complex than that of fission yeast. So this regional, simple regional centromere has been represented by the fission yeast, and this regional centromere, more complex regional centromere, has been represented by the human beings. And finally, the holocentric organisms, where the entire chromosome centromere is spread to the entire chromosome, and these bands represent the CNPA attachment. And here holocentric insects, which strangely do not have CNPA attached to them. So the CNPA, which is the characteristic feature, CNPA or its variants, which are the characteristic feature of the centromere, are conspicuous by their absence in the holocentric insects. We shall deal with these different types of centromeres individually. So, here we see that centromere, point centromere, have CDE, 3 CDE, conserved DNA elements, and CNH3 is attached to 2. Regional centromere in fission consists of centromeric region that is the expanse of that centromeric region is very big than that of the point centromere, and satellite centromeres having satellite DNA, they have pericentric heterochromatins, and the holocentromeres, entire length of the chromosome is occupied by the centromere. So here we see in case of budding yeast, 1, 2, 3 conserved DNA elements. Here the entire region is represented. Here also the region, a bigger region is represented, having satellite DNA at score. And here the entire chromosome, the centromere is expanded to the entire chromosome, and it's called holocentromere. And these are the attachments of CNPA or their variants. But here in this case, holocentric insects, no CNPA is attached to the centromere, although it is a holocentric centromere, but without CNPA, which is a unique feature of holocentric insect centromere. Now, discussing individually, the point centromere here, you say it is 116 to 120 base pair long, but it may expand to 125, 127 base pairs too. And you see here that there are 3 conserved DNA elements, CDE1, CDE2, and CDE3, and CENPA, which imparts the centromeric feature to that particular DNA. It's attached to CDE2, and here you say these are canonical H3 nucleosomes, whereas this nucleosome is having CENPA in place of the normal or the canonical H3. So since only one nucleosome is CENPA nucleosome, you see that it is a point centromere having so you see here that this centromere is having CENPA, and so it is called point centromere because these two, they are having canonical centromere is canonical histone H3, and so they are canonical nucleosomes, but here CNPA containing nucleosomes, and since CNPA imparts a specificity, although CNPA is not called CNPA in case of the budding yeast, rather it is called CSE4P, but in common jargon, we can say CNPA, or it would be better to call it CENH3, that is CENH3 of the centromere. Now, the centromeres of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the budding yeast are small, having single microtubular attachment per chromosome. So, only one microtubule or only one spindle fibrae will be attached to a chromosome, and that at this point. So, it is point chromosome, point centromere, because only one microtubule is attached per chromosome. The Saccharomyces cerevisiae centromere DNA, that is the budding yeast DNA, is known to have 3 conserved DNA sequences. 3 conserved, 1, 2, 3 conserved DNA sequences common to all chromosomes, a feature not seen in higher eukaryotes. In higher eukaryotes, they are not conserved in all chromosomes, but in case of budding yeast, these 3 conserved DNA elements are similar in all the chromosomes. So CDE2 is 78 to 86 base pair 80 rich region, and SEN-H3 variant CSE4P. So here CENPA is CSE4P. Here the centromere specified H3 variant is called CSE4P. So CSE4P or SEN-H3, you can say, assembles on CDE2. Then CDE3 is also important because any mutation in the CDE3 abolishes centromere function, providing binding site for CBF3. So it is important that it provides a binding site, and if any mutation creeps in CDE3, the function of centromere of the budding yeast is marred. So both 1, 2, 3 are important, and they have been conserved in all chromosomes, but the H3 variant, that is the variant of canonical H3, which imparts centromere characteristic to a particular DNA region, is attached to the CDE2. And so at this point of attachment, that is, this provides points of attachment to the spindle fiber. Now, moderately complex. This centromere is complex, more complex than the point centromere, but less complex than the human centromere. So it falls in between. And so it is much longer. That was 120, 125, 127 base pairs long, but here 40 to 100 kilobase. So kilobase, thousands of bases. So 40 to 100 kilobase long, have multiple microtubule attachment site. In case of point centromere, there was only one microtubule attachment site, and that was provided by the point where the CENPA, which is called CSCP4 in case of budding yeast, is attached. So here there is only one attachment point where CSE4P is attached, and so, but here there are multiple attachment points. So multiple spindle fibrate microtubules can get attached to this region. You see here that here CNPA or CEN, here CENP1, it is called in case of Saccharomyces pombe. So here you see that this represents the SEN-H3 variant. This represents the canonical nucleosome having canonical H3, but this represents the nucleosome having the variant of SEN-H3, that is CENP1 in case of Saccharomyces pombe, which is a variant of CENPA, that is the protein which imparts from centromeric property to the region. So here the first difference is it is far more longer, having 40 to 100 kilobases, kbs, and there are multiple points of attachments because in this region, at multiple points, the SEN-H3 is attached, or the nucleosome having SEN-H3 is attached. So instead, these centromeres are composed of here core region, and then inverted region 1, 2, that is left and right, and then outer inverted region. So these centromeres are composed of central core region. This is the core region. It may be 1, 2, 3 central core region bordered by inverted repeats. Here, the DNA have been repeated in inverted orientation. So these are called inverted repeats. They may be inverted repeat left, inverted repeat right. So I'm here, I'm here. And then outer repeats. These are the outer repeats, outer repeat left, outer repeat right. And so these regional centromeres, which have been exemplified by Saccharomyces, Cytosaccharomyces pombe, that is the fission yeast, are more complex than the point centromere of the budding yeast, but less complex than the human centromere of which consists of far more numerous satellite repeats. So now human regional centromere. This centromere is also regional centromere because it is expanded throughout a region of the chromosome. Not it is represented by the point of chromosome, but it differs from less complex regional centromere of fission yeast in that it has a number of satellite repeats. We have already discussed hierarchical arrays of satellites, or we have discussed higher order repeats. So you see here the repeats are the repeating monomers. Monomers are constituted by the alpha family satellite family, and in the alpha satellite family, the length of the monomer is about 171 nuclear base pairs. So nucleotide base pairs. So here this is made up of 171 nucleotide base pair, more 171, 170. So the monomers have been repeated many number of times, and so they form higher order repeats, to which CENPA. Here the centromeric H3 variant is called CENPA, centromeric protein A, which imparts a specificity to this region to act as chromosome. So you see here CENPA, 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 they are attached and they have expanded throughout a region of the chromosome. Not only the alpha satellite DNA, but also human satellite, which we have discussed in earlier slide, human satellite 2 and 3. And these human satellites consist of pentameric repeats. So most abundant is alpha satellite having 171 base pair repeats. The monomers are made up of 171 base pairs. But in case of human satellite 2, 3, it is the repeating unit is a pentamer consisting of CATTC repeated n number of times. The monomeric sequences differ by as much as 40%. So the monomeric sequences, which may constitute, if it is alpha satellite, they consist of 171 base pair. So these monomeric sequences, they are not exactly identical, but they can differ as much as 40%. And so the number of times they have been repeated and their constitution, chemical constitution, which is reflected by the sequence of nitrogen bases, that is the nucleotide composition, both number of repeats and nucleotide composition determines the specificity, imparts the specificity on a particular centromere. The centromere of X chromosome will differ from the centromere of Y chromosome. In which features? Both of them are having alpha satellite family repeats, but they will differ in having the monomeric constitution. That is the monomeric constitution, that is the 171 base pair constitution will differ as much as 40%. So here the repeating unit is made up of about 171. There also it will be made up of about 171 nucleotide base pairs, but the number, the specificity of base pair, the sequence of base pairs, the composition of base pairs will vary as much as 40%, and the number of higher order repeats, HORs, which we have discussed in the earlier slide. So number of higher order repeats will also vary. A set number of monomers give rise to a higher order repeats and confer chromosome specificity. So chromosome specificity, that is the centromere found on one particular chromosome, differs from a centromere on another particular chromosome in that the higher order repeats will differ, as well as the monomeric units will differ in their nucleotide sequences. Higher order repeats are themselves reiterated hundreds to thousands of times, so that alpha satellite arrays are highly homogeneous and span several hundred kilobases to several megabases. Unordered monomeric alpha satellites. So ordered repeats, the higher order repeats, they will be occupying the central region of the centromere, whereas the peripheral region will be occupied by the unordered monomeric alpha repeats, flank the higher order arrays and becoming progressively more divergent further away from the centromere core. So the centromere core, from the centromere core towards the either side, we will have higher order repeats. They will show similarity, whereas when we move towards the poles of the centromere, we will have monomeric constitutions. They are divergent farther away from the centromere core. Evolution of holocentricity and loss of CNPA. So as we have seen that in holocentric chromosome, here as exemplified by Sinorhabditis elegans, a nematode, it had occupied the entire chromosome and it has been interspersed by the attachment of SEN-H3 variant. That is the variant of H3 histone, which specifies the centromere. So this is normal holocentric. But there is also a holocentric chromosome which is found in insects, which lack the SEN-H3 variant. Here, from here to here, we have got a variant of SEN-H3. That is a variant of H3 which specifies the centromere. But here, no, that variant is entirely absent. This variant is variously called CAC4P in case of buddingist, CENPA1 in case of Fissionist, CENP1 in case of Fissionist, CENPA in case of satellite centromeres, and here variant in elegans, Sinorhabditis elegans, and here they are altogether absent. So how this holocentricity has evolved? Though we see that there is a sea of difference between the point centromere and the regional centromere of human beings, but we can derive some sort of similarity, and we can derive a evolutionary line, and we can have similarity in repetition, we can have similarity in attachment of a particular variant of the H3, which had been attached in case of buddingist at one point, in case of Fissionist in a region, in case of human centromere in a broader region, but in a holocentric centromere in still broader region, which centromere occupies the entire chromosomal space. So how the holocentricity has evolved? Why? What was the region which propelled the evolution of holocentricity? I have included this slide to answer the question of Shweta, that how the effects of how CNPA was lost in case of holocentric satellite. So we have seen that holocentric centromeres have evolved in unrelated animals. That is, we cannot draw an evolutionary line from one point that, well, from this point, holocentricity has evolved. Rather, holocentricity has evolved in a different way, and it represents convergent evolution. That is, animals having different types of centromeres, they converged upon holocentricity on holocentric centromeres due to some environmental pressure or due to some, you can say, survival benefits, positive variations. So there are a few adaptations which have been specified, and which it is presumed that which led to the evolution of holocentricity. So this is anti-clastogenic adaptation in case of phytophagous insects. So aphids and lepidopterans. Aphids and lepidopterans are bird flies, and aphids are small sap-sucking insects found on plants. So these aphids and lepidopterans, aphids in common jargon, dialectic language is called lahi. So aphids and lepidopterans, they are phytophagous. To avoid being infested by aphids and lepidopterans, some plants secrete clastogens, and these clastogens cause breakage in the chromosome of those insects, and that's how they try to avoid the infestation by those insects such as aphids and lepidopterans. So in response to this clastogenic breakdown of the chromosome, holocentric centromere develop in these insects. It is presumed that holocentric centromeres develop in aphids and lepidopterans to deal with the clastogenic attack by the plants. That is, they developed their centromere, they expanded their centromere to entire area of the chromosome, so that the chromosome is not broken down due to the impact of the clastogen while the chromosome is being segregated at the time of the cell division. So holocentricity in these animals, it has been presumed, developed due to, you can say, developed to fight the, to avoid the impact of clastogen. Now, in other insects, it has been reported and it has been deduced that they develop to overcome the desiccation, chromosomal disintegration during desiccation. Many insects, they were subjected to water scarcity since insects invaded land, and so they had to face water scarcity, and this water scarcity leads to this their desiccation, and this desiccation led to the fragmentation of their chromosomes, and to avoid the fragmentation, they expanded their centromere to the whole of the chromosomal region. So this is how the 800 species, including insect, plants, arachnids, nematodes, they have holocentric chromosomes, and holocentricity evolved by convergent evolution. That is, there is no one line. It evolved from different points and all of them converge to holocentricity. So they devolved from monocentric chromosomes to holocentric chromosomes, and and it was in response to clastogenic attack by the plants and to avoid the desiccation. Holocentric insects, now there is a peculiarity. Many species of insects, plants, arachnids, but here in insects, in holocentric insects, which account for 16% of all named eukaryotic species. So a big proportion of eukaryotic species is represented by holocentric insect, and the holocentric insect is unique that it has entirely lost their dependence on SEN-H3s. That is, SEN-H3, which was present in one form or the other form in budding is, in fission is, in original centromeres, in plants, they have you can say forsake their dependence on SEN-H3, that is, SEN-H3 is entirely absent. So in my first class, in first lecture, in dealing with the first two slides, I have said that the centromere specificity is imparted by the SEN-H3, that is, variants of CENPA, which has been variously called in different organisms, but it is SEN-H3, that is the variant of canonical H3, normal usual H3, which is found in case of cyclosome. It's not there in case of centromere. In centromere, you have got a special type of H3, which is called SEN-H3. So the SEN-H3 was always present. Rather, we define centromere by the presence of SEN-H3, but here the holocentric insects, there are notable exception in that they have lost SEN-H3 entirely. Many kinetoplastids such as trypanosoma and fungi have also lost SEN-H3. So these fungi and trypanosoma, which is a kinetoplastid protozoan, they have also the trypanosoma causes a dreaded disease called sleeping sickness. Trypanosoma gambiaceae, Trypanosoma rhodesiense, Trypanosoma brucei. So these cause dreaded sleeping sickness in African regions. So these kinetoplastid, a few fungi, and all insects which exhibit holocentricity have lost the SEN-H3 variant altogether. Why this loss of SEN-H3 variants? Asked by one of your friends. So it has been presumed that when the architecture of centromere was being shifted from the monocentric to the holocentric chromosome, this SEN-H3 was lost somehow, and its necessity, that is the point of attachment, it was providing point of attachment to the spindle fibers in the centromere. It had been, this attachment function had been fulfilled by these non-SEN-H3 holocentric insects in many other ways. And say, for example, in fungal group Mucor sarcinelloides, CNPA is lacking, but two kinetochore proteins, MIS12 and DNS1, play the role of CNPA. So this CNP had been entirely lost while the architecture of the centromere was being changed from the monocentric to the holocentric chromosome. But these insects, these holocentric insects, as well as some kinetoplastids and fungi, they have evolved some other proteins which perform the function of CNPA in them. So this was all about the structural variation of the centromere, and we have seen that centromere are the point of attachment, not only the passive point of attachment, but they are active point of attachment, that they not only provide the lodging point for the kinetochore and attachment of the spindle fibrae, but if some malfunction creeps in, if some anomaly creeps in the attachment process, they will halt the process of segregation of the sister chromatids, and in that way they are the sorry, they are active, they are physiologically active too. They have not only structural specification, but physiological activity too. And many of the centromeres do have abundance of satellite DNAs, and these satellite DNA, back to the basics, we have dealt with the basic knowledge of the satellite DNA, that why they are called satellite and how they are repeated, and how higher order repeats are made, and how these higher order repeats, as well as the chemical constitution of the satellite DNA, is important in imparting a specificity to that satellite DNA, and in that way it causes the difference between satellite DNA on one chromosome from the satellite DNA of the other chromosome. Here you have got the satellite band, and in this slide you can see that satellite DNA, which was being regarded as the junk DNA or the structural strength providing DNA, has got a number of physiological roles, both evolutionary as well as instant roles to play. And now we have discussed different centromeres, the point centromeres having one centromeric H3, CSE4P. In regional centromeres, entire region is centromeric, and a number of CNP variant have got attached. Here in case of budding yeast, one CNP. In case of fission yeast, a number of CNP variants. These are called CNP1 in case of Cytosaccharomyces pombe, that is the fission yeast. And here the core is much longer than the budding yeast, and it can be divided into central core region 1, 2, 3, and then it is flanked by the inverted repeats and then outer repeats too. So the core is flanked by repeats, inverted repeats immediately flanking the core, and these repeats themselves will be flanked by the outer repeats. And now in case of human beings, the complex, highly complex regional centromere, you see here that there is a higher order repeats of DNA, tandemly repeated DNA, higher order repeats, and these DNAs are, these repeating units are 171 base pair longs, and repeating units can differ as much as 40%. And so it is the number of times they have been repeated, and it is their base constitution that demarcates a centromere, a satellite DNA on a particular centromere from the satellite DNA of another centromere. And finally, the evolution of holocentricity. We have seen that ancestor possessing monocentric chromosome, so holocentricity had emerged convergently from point monocentric chromosomes, and in course of change of architecture of the centromere, CNPEA or its variants, that is the CEN-H3, which was characteristic feature of the centromere of other animals, have been lost entirely in case of holocentric insects. And these holocentric insects, as and some kinetoplastids and fungi, they have adapted in a different way, and they are utilizing other proteins for the attachment of spindle fibers. So in fungal groups, CNP is lacking, but two kinetochore proteins play the role of the CNPA. So that was all about the structure, peculiarity of the centromere, its complexity as we move up the ladder of evolution in animal kingdom, as well as role of satellite DNA, and finally, a peculiar characteristic of holocentric insects in which we have altogether lost the CENPA variants. So that was all about the structure. The next section will be about the epigenetic influences. So the centromere is not determined only by the sequence of nitrogen bases or sequence of nucleotides on the DNA, but it is determined by the other factors also, and it is seen that it is largely determined by the other factors. So the epigenetic influences play a predominant role in a specification of centromere, and that we shall see in the next class. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that we have come to the end of this class, and in next class we shall see the centromeric specificity imparted by the epigenetic factors. What are those epigenetic factors? How does methylation, acetylation, ubiquitination, and submethylation? So how attachment of different groups impart their change in the characteristic, change in the functioning of the DNA, and how centromere is specified by different epigenetic factors that we shall discuss in the next class. Thank you. Thank you very much.